Good afternoon, Veritas scientists. Today is Monday, May 4th, 2020. This is the question that I'd like you to answer for tonight. I'm going to give it to you now just in case my camera runs out of battery. So it says, identify and list as many structural and behavioral adaptations as possible for platypuses. We're going to read about platypuses, so you'll have some information to help you with that. You must label them as either structural or behavioral adaptations, and then we're going to start moving on to life cycles next. Okay, so this was from Friday. This was the question I gave you. It was to identify and list as many structural and behavioral adaptations as possible for Canada geese. You must label them as either structural or behavioral adaptations. So I made my list here. You can check out yours and please send them to me if you haven't already. Here is a list of structural adaptations. Those are body parts that help these animals to be able, body parts that have helped these geese to be able to survive. So they have webbed feet to help them swim. They have long necks for fishing. They can stick their long neck underwater and fish. They have thick feathers for warmth. Their bill or their beak has jagged edges for straining water. That way they can get the food out and strain the water out of it like you would strain pasta. They have a spiny tongue for sifting through food. The front of their bill is sharp and can cut grass, seaweed, and hard kernels. Okay, so those are all body parts, right? Their feet, their neck, their feathers, their bill, their tongue, and their bill again. Those are all different body parts that have helped them to be able to survive where they live. Now, these ones are cool. Behavioral adaptations of Canada geese. They fly in a V shape. We've talked about that before. Let's find the geese, right? The shape of a V, like this. Okay, the leader changes to save energy, right? The one leading is going to get the most wind in their face, so they're going to change, and a different bird will lead for a little while so that they do not get so tired. So that's a behavioral adaptation because they have to do something in order to have that adaptation work. They make loud noises to sound bigger when predators approach. Please watch the video of Charlie and me and Johanna as we chased some geese the other day to see how they acted when Charlie approached them. It was pretty cool. When they're threatened, they open their wings widely to look bigger than they are, right? So they're trying to make really loud noises to sound bigger, and then they're trying to look as big as possible. That way they will be scared off, and they're less likely, the predator will be scared off, and they'll be less likely to be attacked. This one's cool. They mate for life. That means the males and the females will have babies with the same partner forever. And if the partner dies, they live alone, right? So that's a behavioral adaptation. Those two geese, once they are together, they stay together and they mate every year together. And they do that for their entire life, which is really cool. So if you ever find a Canada goose that is by itself, its mate has died, right? And that has helped them to be able to survive. They stay with the same mate over and over and over again, and it guarantees that they're going to be able to mate again the next year. Okay, they live in flocks for protection. They live with lots of them together to help protect each other. And they always migrate along the same route to the same place each year. So when they fly and they go to migrate somewhere where it is, there's Charlie, somewhere where it is warmer so that they can get food in the wintertime, they always go the same route to the same place every year. That way they know that there will be food at that place when they get there. So those are lists of some different structural adaptations or body parts that have helped those animals to be able to survive, and some of the different behaviors, which I find very, very interesting. Those are called instincts. And they are born knowing how to do that. They didn't have to learn this from their parents. They're born knowing how to do those behavioral adaptations. Okay, so now we're going to read about platypuses, and your job is to be identifying and listing as many structural and behavioral adaptations as possible. Okay, so this is a platypus. It says platypuses. The platypus is an animal with an unusual combination of adaptations. It has a bill and webbed feet like a duck's. It also has a broad, flat tail like a beaver's and a sleek, furred body like an otter's. The thick fur repels water. Each of the other structural adaptations help the duck-billed platypus survive in water too. The platypus has a clumsy walk on land. The webbing on its feet pulls back and uncovers claws that help the platypus move on the ground. The claws also help the platypus build dirt burrows on the shore. The platypus is one of only 2 mammals that lay eggs. And this here says the male platypus has sharp, venomous stingers on its heel for protection. So under the heel, right, this part of their foot, they have venom that will actually help them to stay alive. Okay, there's a platypus singing. It says a platypus can stay underwater for almost 2 minutes in search of food. The platypus glides through the water looking for food. It paddles with its front webbed feet and steers with its back feet and tail. Extra skin covers its eyes and ears. Its nostrils close to keep out water. These adaptations help the platypus stay underwater. The platypus hunts underwater. By instinct, it knows to scoop up small rocks with the worms, insect larvae, and shellfish it catches. The platypus stores the rocks and food in its cheek pouches. It uses the small rocks to mash up food after it surfaces. So basically, it will come down and swim. It will grab rocks, and it will grab other things that are there, along with the worms and the other things that they're eating, and it will keep the rocks in its cheek, and then it swims up, and it uses those rocks that it keeps in its cheek pouches. It uses those rocks to help smash up the food that it found, right? If it's eating something like a clamshell or like a crab or something that has a shell on it, it actually takes those rocks in its mouth and uses those on land to smash up the food. I think that's a really, really cool behavioral adaptation. Okay, so for tonight's assignment, identify and list as many structural and behavioral adaptations as possible for platypuses. You must label them as either structural or behavioral adaptations. And then tomorrow we are going to start talking about life cycles. All right, and that's it. Hope everybody has a great day. See you later.